When I was in college, my best friend, who I'll call John for privacy, and I spent pretty much every day together. We were roommates too, which made it even easier. The thing is, the two of us together were definitely not the smartest. Not in an intelligence sense, but more in a we make a lot of impulsive, bad decisions kind of way. We constantly found ourselves doing stupid things, like exploring abandoned houses or pulling off dangerous, often illegal stunts, climbing water towers, for example. Just dumb stuff like that. One night, though, we came up with an idea that seemed way less crazy compared to our usual adventures. We thought it would be cool to explore the woods behind our town in the middle of the night. Maybe it would give us a bit of an adrenaline rush or something. For some context, the woods surrounded nearly every side of our small town, but the reason we chose the woods behind the town was because nobody ever went there. At least, no normal people did. Even John and I had never been back there before. A large portion of the town on that side had been abandoned after a massive fire decades earlier. Since there was basically nothing left over there, the woods in that area were abandoned too. No trails, no paths, nothing. We grabbed a couple of flashlights and headed out. It was about a 30-minute walk from campus to the back of town. Then another 10 minutes through the burned-out sections before we reached the forest. Once we were sure no one was around, we turned on our flashlights and stepped into the trees. Within just a few minutes, the lights from town completely disappeared. All that remained was faint moonlight and the narrow beams from our flashlights guiding us through the woods. Honestly, for the first 20 minutes or so, it didn't feel that special. After the initial creepy feeling of entering a dark forest at night wore off, it became quiet and uneventful. There was nothing to see but trees, no abandoned buildings, no strange markings, nothing unusual. That changed suddenly when John noticed something ahead of us in the distance. A light was cutting through the darkness between the trees. It was definitely a flashlight, not a campfire or anything natural. What was strange was how low it was, almost on the ground. As we got closer, we realized that's exactly what it was. A flashlight sitting on the forest floor with nobody around it. There were no signs of a campsite or anything else nearby. Since it was a normal electric flashlight, someone must have been holding it recently, definitely that same night. Otherwise, the batteries would have been dead by then. Neither of us could understand how someone could forget a flashlight like that or drop it without noticing, considering it was literally the only light source in a pitch-black forest. That's when we came to a much more unsettling conclusion. Whoever had dropped it was probably running, and if they didn't come back for it, they were likely running from something. I felt a chill go straight through me, which should have been our cue to leave immediately. But that creeping adrenaline, the same feeling we were always chasing, kept us there. We decided to leave the flashlight alone, just in case it wasn't what we thought, and someone planned on coming back for it. I took the lead as we moved deeper into the woods, with John right behind me. At that point, we both wanted to see what else we might find, almost hoping we could piece together the story behind that strange discovery. Less than 2 minutes after leaving the area where we found the flashlight, we heard a sudden crack behind us. Not just one, several. 3 or 4 sticks snapping in quick succession, somewhere about 20 or 30 feet behind John. We spun around immediately, shining our lights, but saw nothing. It definitely put us on edge. We kept walking for another 5 minutes when we heard the same sound again, once more coming from just behind John. It genuinely sounded like someone running quickly across the forest floor. Still, we couldn't see anything. After that second time, the excitement was gone. This wasn't a fun adrenaline rush anymore. It was real fear. It felt like we were actually in danger. What's crazy is that this was supposed to be tame compared to our usual stunts. I mean, what were the odds of running into someone in the woods in the middle of the night? Especially in this specific area. We still weren't completely sure it was a person, but it sounded way too much like one. After the 5th or 6th time it happened, we turned around and briefly caught sight of a shadow slipping out of our flashlight beam and behind a tree. John must have seen it too, because we both froze, staring into the darkness much longer than we had before. About 10 seconds later, we saw a figure slowly lean his head out from behind the tree, peering at us. That was it. We bolted. We ran sideways through the trees, then turned and sprinted back the way we came. I'd say we ran full speed for about 5 minutes before finally slowing down, completely out of breath. From there, we walked all the way back to town with our flashlights dimmed. Strangely, neither of us saw the flashlight on our way back. Someone, maybe the same person, must have picked it up and turned it off. When we got back to campus, we couldn't stop talking about what had happened. None of it made sense. Who would be stalking people in the backwoods in the middle of the night? Neither of us can say for sure if this was connected. But a few days later, word spread around town about a missing person who was last seen heading toward the back of town. There's no way to know if they disappeared back there, in the woods, or if it had anything to do with what we experienced. I think what disturbs me the most is the thought of what we might have stumbled into that night. If we had let that man keep following us, or if we had gone even deeper into the forest, I don't know what we would have found, or if we would have made it back at all.